Hi guys, welcome to the MERN Stack series of authentication. Let's start with a registration form. So in this, I have to fill the form, and once I click this, my mail ID and password should get updated in my database right here. So let's start with the backend here. So in this, I have already been connected with the database. We had already discussed the how we can connect the database in our tutorial. So once we have connected to the database, we have to make a route and for the registration. So here we have to use app.use. So in this we have to mention the route path. So in this have to give API slash, this is for authentication. You can give any path here. So in this I have to mention the route and user here. I have to import this. So for that I have to give, you can give a name, you can give any name, and we have to import that package. So we have to import that path. So here have to give uh, routes slash user. So once I have to give this router user here. So once you give this, you go to that particular path routes user. So in this we have to import this express. In this express we have a router method. So here in this router, this is a post method. So we are posting the email ID and password. So we have a method called post. So in this I have to mention the path of the route. So here I have to give any name. So here I gonna perform the registration. So for that I give register. In this register, so here I have to give the path of the auth controller, so where we can write a logic for this register. So have to import that. So here I gonna perform the register method over there. So here I have to require import. So have to give dot slash controller slash auth controller. So once you give this and register, save this and go to the controller auth controller. You could see in this we need a dependency called bcrypt. So whatever the password we are getting, we have to hash that password and we will store it in a database. For that we need a bcrypt. So here you have to install npm I space bcrypt. So once you install the dependency, let's start with the registration logic. So before that, I have to mention one thing. We have to go to that model. In this model, I have already mentioned that user.js here. So we need a mongoose connection for the database. In the database, how our schema should look like. My schema should be my email ID and password should get stored in my database. So for that, my database structure is would be email, mail ID is string, and record is true, and my mail ID should be unique. For that, unique true. So here password, this is string, and record created at. So what time I have created my mail ID and password. For that I have to give a date. So here this is a user schema. Here I have to export that user. So whatever the name I have given this user, it should be the users of user of the plural of that user. The users will come. Here I have created a database. uh, so let's go with that and write a logic for that registration. So we have to give exports, and also we have in the routers we have to export the routes. So I forgot it. So the module dot exports equals this router has to export that. So once you give this and go back to the auth controller, we have to write a logic for that registration form. So exports dot, so you can give register. So this is a async request comma response. So here in the front end, you browser, you can see have to get email ID and password. So for that we have to give const email comma password. So we will get it from the request from the client. So request dot body you have to give. So once you give this, you have to hash the password. So for that, we have a bcrypt. Bcrypt, you have to install that dependency right here. So I'm gonna hash the password. So in this try catch block, we will do it. So here I do it in a try block. So my catch block will be like error. If there is any error, so I just gonna catch it here. So the response dot status 500 is my server error. So in this form of JSON, I'm going to give error message. Registration failed. So here I'm getting email user from the client. So have to, whatever the password I'm getting from the user, have to hash that particular password. So I have to encrypt my password. So for that, so I have to give a await. So decrypt. So in this we have imported. So in decrypt, here I have to give hash. So the whatever I have this password, I have to hash that particular password here. So here I have to make an encryption of 10 rounds. So for that I have a salt. This is a salt. So it's a meaning of we are encrypting 10 times. So here I have to give any name. This is hashed password. So you could give any name here. I'm gonna give hash password here. So once you hashed that particular password, you have to store it in the database. So for that I gonna give a new user. User is my model, the model here. So here I have to give mail, email, and password could be that hashed password. I have to store it in the database. So for that I gonna give a hash password. So once you give this and you have to store it in some constant variable. So here I gonna give a user. So so right here you have to save this. So whenever you create something in the database, you have to save. So user dot save method we have. Once you save this, my response should be 201. My status code should be 201. So 201, if the record is created in my database, my status code would be 201 and JSON. So my message should be like registration successful. So once you give this and save this, if there is any error, or we will check. So once it's been connected to the database, we'll check in the API. In the Postman, I have created a. Uh, you have to give. You have to create a workspace. In this workspace, you have to give a add request here. So in this new request, add request, once you give this, you get a you can give any name here. I gonna give a registration I had given. So in this you have to give a path here. So my server is running on the port 5000. For that I have given http colon double slash localhost colon 5000. Here you can see my port is running on the server is running on the port 5000. You could see here my path is router path. Right now we had seen it first, it comes to this API slash auth. Once it's come to this path, it check the routes user. So it goes to the routes user. It's a register. So API slash auth slash register. So it goes to this controller auth controller. Once you go to this, it will execute this. In this request dot body, have to give the mail email. This is a request dot body. You can see this is a request dot body. Here I have to give the email ID and password. This is requesting from the client. So here in the body we are mentioning email and password. We have to decrypt this hashing, that we are encrypting that password and store it in hash password. And whatever the mail id have typed here, this password and this password should not store in the database. Only the hashed password should get stored in this password, and we store it in the database. Once the my is successful, my record should be, my status should be to 201. So we'll check whether it is running uh, fine or not. So we'll see. So registration failed. So for checking the error, I'm just commenting this one, and also I'm just take this, and once again I save this, and we will see what error are we gonna get. So here, so once again I click this, the console you could see what error we got. So here I go to this. So my error is the data must be string, and or buffer and salt must be either the salt string or number of rounds. So here I got uh, error like this. If this error appear, my password, whatever the password, have to convert this into string. So for that, have to convert this to string. So let pass. So pass string. I gonna give any name here. So for that, I have to give password. Whatever the password I have, this has to be converted to string. So you can see here, and in this pass string you have to give here. So here you have to give this here, and once you save this, and you could see my registration would be successful. So let's check whether it's working. Here I go to this, and once again I click this. So my registration is successful, and also we will just pass the user, whatever the user I got here, I will show it in the form of JSON. So here I'm just saving this, and let's go to the Postman, and you could see once again. So if I register again, my registration would be failed because I have to register with the same. So if I click this, my registration already I have registered, right? So this is not possible. So have to give, so you could see, so email is duplicated. Here you can see, so email one already the duplication of this email id. So for that I have to give, so you can give any name here, and I just sending again. So you could see my error. So again I save this, and send this. So I got registered in my db. You can go to the mongodb. You now I have zero document right here. So once I refresh it, you could see my data gets stored. So have san at gmail.com. This is my hashed password here. So also the date has been displayed here. So you go to that, and you can see, so everything is working fine. So here you can, so you here you have to convert this into string, and you have to pass it, the pass string. You can give any variable right here, and you have to hash that, and uh, that hashed password will be stored in my database. Once I store this, I save it in my database. So here the registration is successful, you could see here. So in the, here my registration is successful, and it gets stored in the database. So here, if you want to see the hashed password here, you can also console that one also. So you can also console that hashed password. So here I'm just gonna console.log of that password. Also I can see, I'm just give this also. I'm just, so I'm just console that password, whatever the pass string I have, or that one also. I'm just console that. You could see my string, or my integer is converted to string. And here I'm just saving once again, and you could see here, and the API, I'm just go and giving, I'm just give some other name here, Radha here. So once it's been connected, and just click this, and my registration is successful right here. And you go to that VS Code, and you can see here, before my password whatever I have given in this is 123456 7. So here you can see here 1234 in the form of integer. So for that I just converted this into string. So my string is 123456, and here it passing, and this hashed password is stored in my database right here. So my mail id whatever I have mentioned here, thus that one is saved in my database. You can see my database. Right now I have two documents. Once I refresh it, you could see the third documents which I have registered, the radha at gmail.com, and also you can see the password right here. So next go to the front end. So you have to, here I have already been done this routes. So here in the home path I have a registration component. In the in the slash login I have a login. I haven't done that login part, so this is empty right now. So here I have a register. So in this component, in the folder structure, so in the component I have created a register component. In this register component, have created a two use state variable. One is email, another one is password. This is for setting message. So for that I have a variable called message, So in this I have destructured this email and password here. So you can see in my React tutorial I have given this explanation. So here I have form. In this I have two input field. Another one is the button for registration. So here you can see in the browser I have two input field. One is button. So here I have to, once I click submit that register, my on submit has to execute. uh, I have defined this function. uh, we have to give a prevent default for without refreshing the browser my data has to appear. So for that, in this avoid AXIOS, so in this I have a post method. Right here have to mention the API URL here. So whatever the URL that has to come here, so go to this and paste it here. So here I have to pass the email and password. So in the post we have to mention this email and password. So in the request body we are sending two fields. One is email and password. So that I have given the email and password. Right here you can see I have passed in the request body the email and password. So here, uh, once we pass this, and you have to give this URL. So my set message would be my, I'm setting the message. So if it is happened successful, my set message would be registered successfully. You can see in the paragraph tag I have mentioned. So here if my whatever the message, if it is failed, my message should be failed. If it is successful, my message is successful. Here you can see, once I refresh it, you can see here. So I have to refresh it again. So I execute this, and so it's compiling. Once it's compiled, we will check the browser. So in this, first have a path. In this route, in the home path you have a register. It goes to this register component. So in this register component I have created a two field. One is email and password. So once it's settled, have two input field. So in this I have given an email. Whatever the name have given in the useCheck variable, have to give this email. And here I have a password right here. So on change, so here you have to use a spread operator here. Whatever the form data that has to come here, and what e dot target, whatever I type, this is first one is email, and the value would be whatever I type in that, it gets stored. And next, e dot target dot name, in the sense this password. So here whatever the password I have typed, so that should appear. So here this is a on. If I click this, my email ID will be goes to this location, and the value would be whatever I typed there. If I click this password, so the on change listener will, so this is this method, I'm just getting the password, and the value of the password will get stored. So here, once I submit that button, you can use Axios, where we can request the request is going to the server. So in the form of post method. So I have given this URL. So in this, the server, I'm requesting the server in the form of, I'm the request I have sent the email ID and password. So once it's been successful, it's my message should be registered as successful. So here I just give the mail ID. So whatever I have given right here, I'm just rather gmail.com. 1234567 is my mail ID. So it's if I give that my, so I'm just giving rom at gmail.com, and here 1234567 Once I register, my registered is successful. And if I give rather, so I have already been registered, right? So invalid it will print. You can give any name. This is invalid because I have already been registered.